Hi again, and welcome to Scenario 3 of Mutant Genesis campaign, where today we're going to be taking on Master Mold from, as I said, Mutant Genesis, using the Colossus and Shadowcat pre-con decks that we've been using up to this point. So with that now, I'll just go into the intro here. The marauding sentinels have been destroyed thanks in part to Magneto's surprise assistance. The Master of Magnetism excuse me, reveals that he has discovered the secret location of the Sentinel factory and suggests he and the X-Men join forces to defeat their common foe. Angered and dismayed by the brazen attack against their fellow mutants, the X-Men agree and follow Magneto to the factory. So we're just going with Master Mold 1 and 2 in this instance, with the main scheme deck for Sentinel Factory Master Mold's agenda. The encounter deck is composed of Master Mold, Sentinels, Zero Tolerance, and the standard sets. Obviously, just the notes here. Master Mold scenario tells us the story of a rogue Sentinel factory creating more robots to protect itself while it enacts its plans to subjugate humanity. To bring the story to life, Master Mold has the text Forced Interrupt. When Master Mold schemes, discard cards from the encounter deck until a Sentinel minion is discarded. Put that minion into play engaged with you. Do not give Master Mold a boost card for this activation. The minions that enter play through this ability activate against you as normal after Master Mold's activation. So be careful how often you allow Master Mold to scheme. I've been hit by that now a few times and it's been a bit of a game ender, but hopefully we'll have some luck this time around. Also, additionally, main scheme 1B and 2B have the text each Sentinel minion gains guard, which means you'll need to defeat each Sentinel minion before you can attack Master Mold directly. So our setup is already done here. Excuse me. Shuffle each of the future past cards recorded in the campaign log. So those two that we got were Nimrod and Nimrod's Portal, I believe. They're sitting there now. We'll put them in shortly. We have Jubilee. She's in the campaign. She's going to be going with player 1. Each captive ally recorded in the campaign log may be shuffled into any player's deck. So we have Richter and Wolfsbane, I believe. They were the two that were there. If any of my enemy is checked, which it is, we completed that last scenario. Each player takes one of the random upgrades from their roll set and puts it into play under their control, and we may roll build to modify the deck. And then finally reveal the prisoner's side scheme. So that's all set up for us here and should be ready to go. Here are the Nimrod and Nimrod's Portal. I'll put those into the encounter deck now. So they are being shuffled in. Here are the remainder of the future past deck. So I'll just shuffle those. And we'll shuffle this again just for the sake of it. Richter. Colossus is going to take that. And his role build, melee, and combat training. So they'll shuffle in. And Shadowcat will be taking Wolfsbane, the Crisis Averted as usual, and the Heroic Intuition. So we shuffle those. That's totally fine. The two upgrades we have are the Determined Defense and the Brazen Defense. Okay, so this one, when an enemy attacks, spend 1 resource of any type, prevent 3 damage, and deal 3 damage. And then, of course, this one is when you defend against an attack, spend 2 resources of any type. That attack removes threat from the main scheme instead of dealing damage. And of course, both of those, once they're activated, will be removed. With this, we have the Find the Prisoner's side scheme. When revealed, each player searches their deck for an ally and places it face down under here. The allies we've chosen are, from Shadowcat, it's Wolverine. And from Colossus, it's Professor X. And then Magneto is in play, and Jubilee is in play as well, under Colossus control. Colossus's control? I'll probably make that mistake a few times. So setup, we have the ally in play, and then we flip over to the Sentinel Factory. So 6, our total threat is 12. So we've got to be careful of that. That has pinged off for me. Each player discards cards from the encounter deck until they discard a minion Sentinel minion, excuse me, and then puts it into play engaged with them. So let's start that, and we'll do it for Colossus first. Saying I don't have control, but I think I have control of it now. Oh, I'm in the wrong. We'll do this from Peter's side. So I'll revert control to myself, and let's have a look. The first card is a Sentinel minion that comes in. It's the Mark 6 quick strike, but because we are in alter ego form, it doesn't hurt us. Next one. The Mark 2. Okay, so and again, when revealed, not pertinent because they are put into play as opposed to being revealed. With that, I suppose let's get to it. All right, so here is our first hand for Colossus. We'll draw 6 cards. And how many of those would I like to keep? So, I like these 2, and I don't love everything else. So I may mulligan out this, 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 and this for now. Is this any better? It's not awful. But yeah, mid-range, beautiful. That's good. So with that, I'm going to do the setup. Search your deck for a copy of Organic Steel. I know there's one more in there, so let's grab that. There we are. Got our second Organic Steel. Close and shuffle that. Now, does that change what I want to do? Not massively. I mean, I would like to... Let's deal with Kitty's side first. Do the exact same thing here. We're going to shuffle and draw 6. And let's see what's in our hand. Phase Strike is good. Shadow and Steel is not great. Strength is alright. I think I might get rid of... Well, will I? If I gave the Gatekeeper in, that, like, killing the Gatekeeper will get rid of this for us, or will at least threat that down. So I may keep Gatekeeper, and I might get rid of these. No, I'm going to keep Phase Strike, I'm going to keep Strength, I'm going to keep Gatekeeper, and I'll get rid of the other 3. So let's mulligan out Shadow Steel, Attack Training, and Ready to Rumble. So part of me is tempted to keep the Attack Training in for Jubilee, but I don't know. We'll see how we go. So, does this change anything for us? Not massively, but if I have these for that, the Gatekeeper goes out free, and then I can get the energy in. Yeah, I think that's okay. We can see what we can do there with that then. In fact, I might even swap this over, keeping the double. See if that changes what happens for us. All right, so let's start with Colossus. Colossus, what are you going to do? I think we'll spend Genius to get Organic Steel out first. Then I'm going to flip over. And from here, I'm going to use a Steel Skin, give myself a tough status card. Now, how do I feel like dealing with this? I think the play really is a Made of Rage to take this guy out of the equation. But maybe what I'll do first, knowing I'd like to play this, I could use these 3 for Polaris as well. Yeah, I'm tempted to put these 3 into play for Polaris, double up on my Tough, use the Made of Rage. I can't do anything about this Tough, unfortunately. It looks like that will be something I'll have to deal with. Jubilee would work in that instance, but the only problem is that leaves me short. So maybe, yeah, let's go 1, 2, 3 to get Polaris into play. After Polaris enters play, give an X-Men character a Tough status. I'll give that to Colossus. Then I'm going to use a Made of Rage. So my intention is to attack here. I'll exhaust for that. I'm hitting for 2. I'm going to use a Made of Rage. When you make a basic attack, discard a Tough status. So I'll discard this Tough status. I'll just put it onto this. I get +6 and Overkill. So that's going to be 8 against him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That overkills by 2, getting rid of that tough. So that's gone, and this guy is gone. Now, how do I feel about the rest of it? And obviously, when I spend a thing, I can use, when I spend a tough, I can use this to bring that tough back, which is fairly cool for now. Now, what do I do next? I mean, I can get rid of this guy, but that's really affecting how we're seeing our thing. So maybe we just attack for... Oh, do I have control here? Pressing the wrong button. Jubilee's going to attack for 1. Magneto will attack for another 3. 1, 2, 3. And Polaris will attack for another 2. Alright. So that's not massively efficient. We could have done this, but I think maybe we might have better options in the long run. So let's go over to Shadowcat and see what we can do here. So, well, I'm going to use aggressive energy as a resource to pay for the room. I'm going to use her action, phase control, to flip my mass form. My mass form is now phased, and when I exhaust this, I can draw a card. That doesn't change an awful lot of what I want to do, but we'll put Gatekeeper onto this guy. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I want to just attach that to him. Then I may flip over. Now, I'll use a phased strike to kill him. 1, 2, and yeah, that's inefficient, but 1, 2, 3, 4. That's using the phase strike, dealing 6 damage to this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, we have no overkill or anything like that, so that's all right. So that kills him. He had 4 hit points. We can remove 4 threat from the main scheme. There's only 2 there, but at least it's down. So that's discarded, and he's discarded. Now I think I may just, and of course because I've done an attack, I have to flip over to solid, and I may just attack for another 2 and flip this back. And so after you attack or defend in solid mass form, flip this card over. And I think I'm alright with that for a turn. Alright, let's go to the next phase. Lovely, we have quick shift as well. Everything is turning out okay so far. So slow and steady wins the race in this instance, I think. Part 1, 2 goes on the main scheme. And then he's going to activate against us, hitting Colossus. Now, I think I'll use these 2 to pay for a powerful punch. So, powerful punch, when an enemy initiates an attack, deal 4 damage to that enemy. So, that's exactly what I will do. We'll take control. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 4 damage to him. And then he's going to attack me for 2, plus give the villain a tough status card. So he gets a tough back, thanks to shields up. And he's hit me for 2, so that does get rid of 1 of my tough status cards. And then I'll, of course, exhaust this and bring that back, getting rid of that. Now, that's done. He's now going to attack Shadowcat. Let's jump over here, and I can see we have a defense card already here. With quick shift, I'm going to use that. So, that will be my defense in this action. When an enemy attacks, if you are in phased mass form, I'll draw 2 cards. 1, 2. That's a good hand for next turn, I hope. So, he's hitting for 2, plus an additional 1. He's hitting me for 3. But of course, when Shadowcat is defending, she cannot take damage. So that nullifies all that damage. Lovely. But I do have to flip it over. With that said, let's get to the bad cards. The first bad card goes to Colossus. The second bad card goes to Kitty. Colossus, what are you dealing with here? You have an insert virus program, hinder 2, victory 1 when defeated, deal 2 damage to each sentinel enemy. Lovely. So I'll just take control of this for now and move that up with the other schemes. And then the second card is Homesick. Give to Peter Rasputin. So I'll take that now. You may flip to alter ego form, choose, exhaust Peter Rasputin to remove the Homesick from the game, or discard this card and each tough status card from your identity. If you discarded no tough statuses, if you discard no tough status cards this way, this card gains Surge. So I will flip over as per the action here, because I can if I want, and I'll exhaust it to remove this from the game. So Peter's homesickness is dealt with, but that is slowing us down for a turn, it seems. Now, I think we're ready to go into turn 2 hero phase. Did that activate? Hang on there now. Let's try that once more. There we are. Turn 2 hero phase, starting with Shadowcat, and she gets the benefit of the 2 assistance characters. How do I feel about this? Now, I rather like the ability of these. These cost 2 each. So if I use these 2 to pay for that and these 2 to pay for that, that's 2 readies and 6 damage effectively. So, there are no attachments, so Phase Strike doesn't make the most sense at this point. But maybe Lockheed makes sense. Or even an Airwalk. This is an attack, so I could effectively go 1. And this for 2. No, let's not do that yet. What do I do? I should exhaust anyway first. And what should I exhaust to do? Possibly attack. Get rid of that. Yeah, I'll attack first to get rid of this tough. I think that's the biggest barrier for us now. Then I'll exhaust Solid and use an attack training to play Shadowcat Surprise, dealing 3 damage to an enemy. Let's take control. 1, 2, 3 here. And that does ready me up. And after an attack, I may use this response to flip over to Phased. Now, since I'm in Phased, I am rather tempted to do an Airwalk to try and deal with that. But an Airwalk is doing 4, where I could thwart for that. Maybe I thwart for 2 off of this one, off the virus program. And then I think maybe I'll use Lockheed to pay for this Airwalk. Remove the 2 or 4 threat from a scheme. So we'll take it off this. That's this done. That's out of play. It will go to the victory pile. And we'll do 2 damage to Master Mold. Now, I can't really do anything else. But Magneto could attack for 3, taking him down. And we could use a Phase Strike for an additional 2. I think that's what it'll do. 3. So Magneto takes a damage and does 3 to Master Mold. And then we'll exhaust Jubilee using this energy resource to instigate her action. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. 1, 2. And I think we're done with Shadowcat's turn. We'll hold on to the surprise for the next turn and see how we go. So now, I'm going to flip over. And I'm going to use the Bulletproof Protector. Discard a tough status. I'll discard, whoop, that's the wrong one. The tough status. And that readies me up. So I can hit for 2. 1, 2. Defeating Master Mold stage 1 and putting him into stage 2. Next villain, yes. He comes in with toughness and stalwart. He's got a forced interrupt. When Master Mold schemes against you, discard cards from the encounter deck. Until a sentinel minion is discarded, put that minion into play engaged with you. Do not give him a boost card for the activation. So that's the same as his other side, which is warned about in the in the manual. So, what do I do here? I'm rather tempted to try and start scheming this down, or maybe the main one. Worst case scenario, we're getting 2, 2 was 4, and then possibly 3 and 3, 6. So we could be up to 10, which would scheme us out. So maybe I will use her to take 1 off the main scheme. That's probably being a bit overzealous, but let's see how we go. I think we're ready for the next turn. Right. Part 1. 2 goes on the main scheme. Now, should I have flipped this over? No, because I was thwarting. That's right. Yeah. He's going to activate against Shadowcat. Shadowcat, what are you doing? Do you have a defense card? You do not. So, I am unclear on the rules here. I think if she's undefended, she would take the damage. So she does have to defend here. So if I'm wrong on that, let me know. So 3 attached to a sentinel minion. We have none in play, so this whiffs for that character. So I am hit for 3, and of course phased gets rid of that for me. We take no damage at all. Now, what are we doing over here? Colossus is getting hit. I'm tempted to put Polaris in this to keep myself open for a Maid of Rage in the next turn. So that's what I will do. Polaris, you can take this hit from Master Mold. 3 plus 2, that is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That does defeat her, which is not ideal, but could be worse. Then we get our bad cards. The first bad card goes to Kitty. Second bad card goes to Peter. Kitty, what are you dealing with? You have been targeted for elimination. Attachment attaches to your identity if a copy of targeted for elimination is not attached to you. Otherwise, against Surge, thankfully not. When you're engaged with a Sentinel minion, you cannot change from hero form to alter ego form. Alright? And exhaust your identity to discard this card. Okay, that's alright. The next one is a Sentinel Mark II. When revealed, if Operation Zero Tolerance is in play, he gains Surge. Otherwise, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the OZT side scheme and reveal it. So we have a new side scheme to contend with. Let's see what's happening here. Zero Tolerance. Here we are. Close and shuffle. You come into play. Thankfully, not permanent this time, but problematic nonetheless. So, how am I fixed for this? These guys are coming back to me, so I will take control of both of you. You're coming over here, and then we go F12 for the new turn. Turn 3, hero phase. Now, I don't have a huge amount that I can do, but maybe. Magneto's going to punch this guy, and he does kill him. He's hitting for 3. He would take a consequential, but thanks to his response, he will also heal that. Thanks to that. Now, I think I may use the X-Jet to use Jubilee's action. Exhaust Jubilee and spend 1 energy. That'll be our energy. Deal 2 damage to an enemy, and it will be, of course, Master Mold. And then I'm going to attack Master Mold and use a Maid of Rage. When you make a basic attack, discard a tough status. So that's my last tough status for now. I get +6 and overkill. So I'm now hitting for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lovely. That's out of play. And that is done. And I may just use Perseverance to go Protective Training and attach that to Jubilee. So she gets +3 hit points. So she's now up to 6. And that's alright. Now, what can you do over here? You have targeted for elimination, which is a problem. But thankfully not too much of a problem. So, I think we'll use this hero response. Exhaust this card to generate a physical resource for an attack or defense. And I want to use this as the second one. to play a Shadowcat Surprise. That is an attack, so this is a viable target for it. Deal 3 damage to an enemy, and that will be the Master Mold. 1, 2, 3, and I get to ready. That's out of play. Lovely. I might exhaust this to get rid of this. Yeah, exhaust your identity to discard this card just to get that out of play. And I might actually use these two to get Wolfsbane in. 1, 2. Here comes a Wolfsbane. And she's got piercing, so she's going to hit for another 2. I think I'm alright with that now. That's not awful. I mean, we are wearing him down at this point. But this I'd like to try and clear as well. This is also a bit of a problem. That's hurting us if we don't deal with it, or if we start allowing our allies to get hit. So with that, let's go to the next phase. We're going to turn 3 villain phase. 2 goes on the main scheme, which is fine. He's now going to activate against Colossus. Colossus, can you do anything here? You can. You could Powerful Punch, which is exactly what I think I will do. I'm going to go Armor Up and Shadowcat to play Powerful Punch. When an enemy initiates an attack, deal 4 damage. Let's take control. 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. Now that attack is still coming through. So part of me thinks is a time to play our Brazen Defense. When an enemy attacks, spend 1 resource. I'll spend the resource here, this mental, to bring this up. Prevent 3 damage from the attack. So he's hitting for 3. 0. So he hits me for 3. I've avoided 3 with this prevention, and then I deal 3 damage back. 1, 2, 3. Okay. That's all right. So this is done. The attack is over, and this goes into removed from the game. Now, his next attack is coming in at Shadowcat. I forgot to switch down, so I may just have to weather this attack as is, which I think I will do. Right, I'm going to take this in solid form and phrasing and see how that goes. So 3, 4, 5, 6. He's hit me for 6. I have defended for 2. I take 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, that's a big hit. Right, so that's that part done. Now, let's get our bad cards. 1 for Colossus, 1 for Shadowcat. Colossus, what are you dealing with? You have an insert virus program. Okay, they're hitting us with the side schemes this game. That's not too bad. What do you have? An energy barrier. Attached to a sentinel minion without energy barrier attached and give it a tough status. We have none in play, so we have to get a surge. The surge card is a gang up. The villain and each minion engaged with you attack you. Alright, so he is once again going to attack me. Is the Brazen Defense the play? I think it might be. So let's deal with this. I'm going to discard Genius to activate the Brazen Defense. And he hits me for 3 plus this, which is going to be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would have eliminated me. This attack removes threat from the main scheme instead of dealing damage. So we remove 5 from the main scheme and don't take any damage. Whew, okay. So that's not awful. Alright, I'll get Colossus to get rid of this there now shortly. But in the meantime, we are over to turn number 4. Now, let me just organize this here. This will go into the removed from play. And these guys are now under the control of Shadowcat. So, Shadowcat, what can we do here? I think... What can we actually do? I think maybe we can deal with this and maybe get the prisoners out of play. Or do we just go for the kill and take for granted that the prisoners are gone? So we're going to be losing Wolverine, and we're going to be losing Professor X for the future games, which is not ideal. Now, I think you'll forgive me here that I did take defense, so I will flip over this. I'm going to retroactively do that. All right. What I will then do is go X-Mansion to go for an airwalk, which will take 4 out of the scheme. I think we'll take it off of this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, what do I do next? I think we'll put in intangible interference, just in case. All right, just in case. Like, I think we have him close to defeat here, because I could have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's him defeated at this point. So now really all I want to do is try and get our prisoners out. Okay, so Magneto will do a further 2 threat off of this. Shuffle the top card of the future past deck into the encounter deck and flip this card. All right, so we're on to rescue. All right, now what do we do after this point? I think Wolfsbane is going to do another 2 damage. And I think we will hold on to Jubilee. Well, Jubilee could do another 1, maybe. Yeah, I think what I might do, though, is flip down to Kitty Pryde. And I might just use this, considering I'm in phase, to draw a card. The card is a toe-to-toe, which doesn't do much for me. But maybe we take it off of... Now we'll get Jubilee to do 1 damage to the boss. And let's go over to, not Cyclops, Colossus, and see what's left for him to do this turn, which is probably just punch the bad guy. Because we can't do anything else at this point. So yeah, Colossus can punch the bad guy, doing a further 2 damage. And we'll call that the end of the turn. So we're going into turn 4 villain phase. 3 goes on the main scheme. 1, 2, 3, that's done. He's now going to scheme against Kitty. And the scheme is going to be 2. 1, 2. And then we have to use his scheming thing, which will be discarding cards until we get to a minion. There we go. It is the Mark 6. Quick Strike. Again, we avoid the Quick Strike because we're not in the right form. That would only be if we are in hero form. So that's okay. Now, Colossus, what can you do? You have a Shadow and Steel, but you can't play it because you need Shadowcat and play. She's currently as Kitty Pryde. So he's going to hit, and I think we'll just let this hit as normal. Oh, and this guy then would have schemed as well for an additional 2. I did forget that part. Now, so we're hitting for 3. You are stunned. If you're already stunned, take 2 damage. So I do get a stun. And I have to take 3 damage from his attack. Done. And that's all right with me. Now let's do our bad cards. First bad card, that's going to Kitty. Second bad card, that goes to Colossus. First bad card is a Sentinel Mark IV. If targeted for elimination is attached to your identity, he would attack me. It's not, thankfully. Otherwise, search the encounter deck and discard pile for targeted for elimination and attach it. Targeted for elimination attachment and reveal it. So let's get that last one. If it's in here... It's not here. Close shuffle. That's fine. Is it in here? It should be. I know we have target for elimination. There we go. And we don't shuffle those. We'll keep those as is. So this is on my identity now. And that's fine. Okay, we got a couple of guys here. That might be able to save the dudes for us if we can defeat these 2. Colossus, what do you have? Colossus is dealing with an intruder alert, which is another side scheme. So that's all right. What does this do? When defeated, the player who defeated this scheme discards cards from the encounter deck until they discard a Sentinel minion, then puts it into play engaged with them. Okay. And with that, now we are over to turn 5. Colossus is taking the lead. These two guys are coming over here. Now, what am I doing? I don't have a lot that I can do, but maybe I could get the Iron Will into play using these, or maybe I could do a bait and switch, but that's the main scheme. This is blocking us from doing that threat. So I'll go these two to get the Iron Will into play, and I will thwart for 2 from... Will I thwart for 2, or will I just attack and get rid of my scheme? I'll thwart for 2 from this, I think. Take control and then drop 2. That's fine. Now, in fact, actually, let me swap this for this. Okay? Because I want the energy. Why do I want the energy? I want Jubilee's action. Jubilee's action here with the energy doing 2 damage to this guy. And then Magneto finishes him off for 3. So he is dead. And then, after you defeat a Sentinel minion, spend 1 resource of any type. So I can't do that because I don't have any resources. So that's fine. Choose a face-down ally under the... Yeah, that's fine. So that was a bum move, but we'll get there. Now, let's go over to Shadowcat. What can you do? I do think I need to... Well, the first thing I'll do is activate the room, draw a card. Then I may use... I'll recover for 3. And then I'll use the Gatekeeper to get ready to rumble in play. And I'll flip up to hero form. And then after you change form, which I've done, discard this card, ready your hero. And then I'll use that to get rid of this. Okay, now. I don't have many attacks that I can do, which is a problem. So what do I do instead? Could get the Phased and Confused onto this guy at least. That stops an activation. Doesn't it? Oh, I really should have done Magneto first and then let Wolfsbane kill the other dude, because that wasn't the best play, I think. So maybe these 3. Deal 5 damage to that enemy. Choose an enemy. That enemy attacks you. Deal 5 damage to that enemy. So maybe that's what we do instead. I'm going to use a Team Strike to play a toe-to-toe. Choose an enemy. It's going to be this guy. He's going to attack me. I'm then going to use the Quick Shift, which I'm in phase form. Draw 2 cards. That acts as the defense. So because I've defended, this flips over. I don't take any damage. And then, of course, I can respond with 5 damage to him. 1. Let's take control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's done. And then, of course, Wolfsbane can attack for 2, killing him. And obviously, she would take the consequential and knock herself out. And I could get rid of one of these Phased and Confuses to do this action. After you defeat a Sentinel minion, spend 1 resource. We've just done that. Choose a face-down ally under this card and put it into play under your control. So I get to choose one of these guys. So let's take control of both of these for now, and let's choose which one we want. I think I know exactly the one I want. I want Professor X. X gon' give it to you. And I'll put Wolverine back there. Why do I want Professor X? He can ready me up again. That's not ideal, but, you know, something at least. Professor X is going to thwart for 3. From which... maybe this one to bring him down by another 2. Is that the play? 3 from this one? 1, 2, 3. That's done. And then, of course, I can thwart for another 2 off of this, which defeats it, goes to victory, and we can do 2 damage to an enemy. So this goes to the victory pile, and we do 2 damage to this guy. Now, I really want to get Wolverine out of there as well. But we are not in the most beautiful of positions right now. So how do I feel about moving forward? We know 2 is going on this at least. I don't feel great about it. What I will do is use a crisis. Maybe I'll keep that. Yeah, I might get rid of the Phased and Confused, and I'll get rid of this. And we'll call that the end of the turn. Alright, so part 1. Let's lead from Colossus's side of the table. 2 goes on the main ski. He's going to activate against Colossus for an attack. How do I feel about this attack? I think I'll let it go through. I think that's the play here. And then just stay open to do an attack next turn if we have to. Or even thwart. So let's do that. 3, 4, 5, 6. So he hits me for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's done. He goes into the encounter card display. He's now going to hit at Shadowcat. How is Shadowcat going to deal with this? I don't think we have much, in the way of defense here. So I think she will just defend for it. This will be 3, 4, 5. I've defended for 2, so I take 3 damage. Okay. That's done. And then let's hand out the encounter cards. First card here. Second card here. First card is a stun beam attached to a sentinel minion without stun beam attached. Otherwise, again, surge. So we do have to surge. Now, did one of my guys threat out? Or no, we didn't. I thought I saw a warning a while ago about the cards being reset. No. I stand corrected. I'll review it anyway and see if we did make an error. So here's the surge. The surge is the villain attacks you. Of course, the villain attacks me. So he's going to attack me this time. I will defend because I know this could go very, very bad. Very, very quickly. He hits for 3 plus. You're stunned. If you're already stunned, take 2 damage. So I take 2 damage. He hits for 3. I've defended for 2. I do take 1 further damage. Alright, and we are done with these 3. What have you got, Shadowcat? It is the Mark 8. After this minion engages you, attach the topmost sentinel attachment from the discard pile to this minion. Let's look at all the cards here. And it is the stun beam. Okay, and that is attached to him. Now, unfortunately, Professor X is going to leave play because it is the end of the phase, or the round even, and we're going into the next round. So, Shadowcat takes control of these 3. We'll pass these over here. Right. I want to do 8 damage. So, Jubilee can use this. That's 2. He can do 3. That's 5. This does 3 for an additional 8. And then I ready up. I think that makes the most sense. So, Jubilee exhausts and we spend this wild as a lightning resource to do 2 damage. He doesn't have any additional health points. He does not. Magneto does another... Well, no, let's leave Magneto. Let's leave Magneto there for now. Let's use the solid and the attack training. For Shadowcat Surprise, deal 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. And ready my hero. After that, I can flip this to phased. Because that's an attack. Then Magneto hits him for 3. 1, 2, 3. That does defeat him. And I can spend a resource to get Wolverine into play. Right, so after you defeat a minion, which we just did, spend a resource, which we just did, choose a face down ally under this card and put it into play under your control. Excellent. Oh, any player may trigger this ability. Oh, so we probably could have done this the last turn. Oh, I should read these cards better. So, alright, well, that's that part done. Wolverine comes into play, and he's upset that he's been a captive, and he attacks for 3 damage, hitting Master Mold and killing him for the final blow. So there we go, guys. That is Master Mold done. That's about the 3rd time I've tried this, and it's not been the most successful. But hey, I'm going to take that as a win. If you saw any mistakes in there, as always, throw them in the comments. But without further ado, hope you enjoyed watching. I'll catch you in the next one. So take care, and bye-bye for now. So just to review where we were with the campaign log for Scenario 3, I did notice I made an error in the game where we defeated the Find the Prisoners, but I never actually put a Future Past card into play. It would have been Nano Sentinel Tech. So I may try again and play it cleaner this time. More than likely, I'll just take it that it's still in the deck, that it would have been a boost card or something like that. So we'll play it that way forward. We didn't defeat any of the Future Past cards, so all 3 of these will be going into the next one. But with that said, we have defeated Find the Prisoners. Nano Sentinel Tech is going to be one of the cards going into play. We had Brazen Defense and Determined Defense, and Jubilee is still in play. So for the next game, this is the way it's going to look. So hopefully see you in the next one, guys. Take care of yourself, and bye-bye for now.